works. But this is how I buy my beans. And and then Sister, I forgot the name of these beans that you showed me.
M-U-N-G, mung beans.
Mung beans.
M-U-N-G, yes.
Yeah, these are really, really good. Now, this is a whole protein as well?
It's not, but it has a lot of protein in it. It's a good protein and fiber. And I just recently discovered that they come in yellow. I haven't found the yellow ones, and you can use the yellow one. They make pretty bread. Yeah.
Now, I make bread out of this. These are oh my goodness. These are flax seeds. I have tons of seeds. These are flax seeds, and I actually grind these. I'm going to show you how to make a very nutritious, high protein bread with this, with maybe about 4 ingredients, and it's very tasty. So we're going to do that. Excuse the hair.
Now, for meat eaters, I think that, just for the meat eaters, you want to stay with a clean protein. And again, you want to make sure that it is a good lean protein. And when you're eating meat, you want to make certain that you want to be mindful of the portion size, something that fits in your hand. So salmon is a very good protein. Plus, fish, specifically salmon, I'm going to say, because of the omega-3 fatty acids that it have. And you just want to make sure that you don't want to buy the farm-raised salmon. I believe the wild. You want to make sure that it's wild-caught salmon. Now, salmon does have mercury in it, but again, we'll talk about the mercury. Don't worry about, you're not going to be eating salmon every week. Usually during this time of year, parties and things, you're going to be, going to parties. Poultry is another, and you want to make sure you're eating the lean, good lean fat. So poultry is another good fat for those that eat meat.
Jackie, can I ask you about this mung dal? Do you know it?
Yes, dal. Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? They make that. Yes. A lot of Indians. A lot of Indians use that in their recipes.
Yeah, but I bought it to make eggs.
Yes.
Scrambled eggs.
Yes. Yeah.
But I have to ask you about it later.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I mean, if you're going to eat meat, stay with the poultry. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to. It's so important that you purchase meat. You want to make sure that it's not been injected with hormones nor antibiotics. That's why we're having so many of our young ladies are starting their menses early in life because of all of the hormones that's being given some of our foods, and they do that farmers do that so they'll grow fatter and faster. Another thing you want to be cognizant of, you want to avoid antibiotics. Studies have shown that's why so many people are becoming resistant to antibiotics, because they're eating so much of the foods that have been injected. So please, please, please be careful of that. Eggs, actually, eggs is another one. And I know some people have their opinion about eggs, but if you're an egg eater, eat your boil. The preference, I would say, if you can, boil it as opposed to frying it. If you can eat it that way. I know some people may not like boiled eggs, but I did not make my transition overnight. I went from meat to I love vegetarian, so this was no problem for me. I was raised on a farm. So when I was a vegetarian, I would eat boiled eggs with spinach for my breakfast, and just make sure if you're eating eggs, try to get eggs from grass-fed, pasteurized, not pasteurized, but pasture. There's a difference between free range and pasture. So pasture is going to be, and if you want to know, and I put it in some of your information, you can take that brand of egg and you can do EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group, and they'll give you all the facts you want to know about those eggs. So it's good. If you're going to eat these foods, you want to make sure you have the highest quality as possible. Even your meats, if you can afford it, My husband is a meat eater. I couldn't afford for a family because it's very expensive nowadays, but try to get grass fed if you can, and you don't have to eat meat every day. Be mindful of your portion sizes. You do not want to exceed your hand size for your portion size of meat. I think those are some good proteins. And I know I didn't mention beef, but again, if you eat meat, if you want to make you something with beef, my only recommendation is that be very moderate with beef. And if you're going to eat it, try to make sure it's the kosher. All your foods, I would try to make sure they're kosher, grass-fed, and pasture-raised. I think, unless you have any other questions, I think that just about cover the protein.
Okay, now.
Oh, I'm sorry. One other thing about the salmon I talked about, I forgot this, sorry. Make sure you get the young salmon instead of the older. You want to make sure it's young, because the younger the food, the less mercury it contains. So you want to get the smaller size salmon. Go on, Joanne.
I used to cook quinoa, and I was told that it is very fattening. Is that true?
Someone said it was very fattening?
Yes.
No, how did you? It depends on how you cook it. No, quinoa is not very fattening, but it depends on how you cook it.
But I don't really know how to cook it by recipe. So what I would do is cook it. I would grate it like a grain or two of garlic and cook it down with coconut milk.
Okay.
So
Now,
yeah.
coconut milk is what's fattening.
Yep, bingo. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's good.
So
So you want to be
how do you make it tasty?
you like olive oil?
Yes, I do.
You can eat and be versatile. I don't want to say not do the coconut milk, but when you're eating it, because coconut milk is really it's a good fat. Coconut milk is considered a good fat. However, that's what's going to add the fat to that product. And if you're eating it with the coconut milk, just be mindful of your portion size.
Okay, so in Trinidad and Tobago, we cook almost everything with coconut milk.
Coconut milk.
So I'll have to learn to stop that, because this weekend I tried doing the lentils by just bursting it, softening it first and putting the seasoning in it and all of that. And when I tried to eat it without, usually we will take it after we would have burst the peas, we would fry it over with the seasoning and whatever, and it tasted wild. So I had to come back now and put the coconut milk and fry it over as I usually do, but I'll have to learn some discipline. I don't know how I'm going to get accustomed to wild.
Yeah. You could, if you can, you can be versatile in using olive oil. And I don't cook with olive oil. If you're going to cook it, add your, how you cook it, then add your olive oil after you've turned it off. Like if you were making like a rice pilaf or something, you can add olive oil with Italian seasonings. That's one way. But I do appreciate the cuisine style or the cuisine way of eating in your country, and that is very important. So just do you make your own coconut milk or you purchase it?
Both ways.
Okay.
But usually the one that is bought is not as rich as the one that when you get the fruit itself and you blend it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it is. You're right. So, so go on and keep your coconut milk. But what you want to do is just be mindful of your portion size. And I think that you'll be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes. And that brings us to, okay, so we have greens, we have fruits, and we have proteins. And that does bring us to what oils that are for high heat, or if you're going to cook with some oils, or if you shouldn't cook with oils. Some people don't like to have oils at all. And then some of us will use some oils. And coconut oil is, or milk, I should say, is one of the oils that is a healthy, it is a healthy fat that we can use. You want to stay away from canola oil. And Sister Jacqueline, please jump in anytime if I miss something here. Okay.
Let me just add a little thing about the coconut oil.
Mhm.
They're changing, and yes, it was considered a high heat oil, but let me just say this. The problem with when you cook, they have a smoke point. When you cook with oil, it's gonna become carcinogenic. That's the problem with it. Hopefully you're not doing it every day, cooking with it every day. You want to be moderate. You do it in moderation. And coconut oil is a hot oil, but coconut oil is also considered a saturated fat. That's the thing you want to. And saturated fat, no matter what form it is, it comes in, it's going to do what saturated fat do. So you just want to be mindful of that. It's not something you want to eat every day. That's yeah. But yeah,
And
even
okay.
what I like to do is, especially with, I think with I know that's another for Caribbeans, from the islands, because I tell you, I love coconut oil. I add my coconut oil to my, I make a lot of, what type of soups are those called when you use their, I can't think of them, Lord. But you use the coconut milk, you use the lentils and the garbanzo beans,
Oh, you talk like some of the Indian soups,
yeah.
the curries,
You
like
use
different, you can put curry
Yeah, your
in
curry.
there.
Yeah, curry. I love
Yeah.
curry. Yeah, I
Me
love
too.
curry. Yeah, I love curry. I put my oil,
Jenny,
I
when
do
is your
get,
next? Yeah.
yeah, I put my oil in at the end, and I don't do more than, I'll do just 1 tablespoon. I used to do 2, and I stopped that. I do 1 tablespoon. If you do a little bit more, that's okay, but put your oil in last after after you've turned it off, you stop cooking it, and but it's still warm enough for your oil to go in and melt down, because I do know it gives it a good flavor. But I look at 2 tablespoons. Try not to exceed the 2 tablespoons. You've got coconut milk, because a lot of those recipes, coconut milk and that oil. And you must remember that coconut oil is not in its original form, and it is a saturated fat. And so, just be mindful of that. Just make sure you have plenty of people over for dinner so they can help you eat it all up.
Jenny has her hand up. Yes,
Oh,
Jenny.
Oh, yes, I was just wondering, we switched to using like avocado oil. How do you feel about that?
Avocado oil is on what they call the Mediterranean diet. And these are just my takeaways on that. Um, Organic cold pressed oil. But again, if you're getting organic cold pressed oil to heat it up, you're wasting your money, because you have just undone what the cold press, why they cold pressed it. So what a lot of people do, like I know they put it in their sauces, and just make sure that in their spaghetti sauce, their red sauce, I think. And what I've seen them do is, I don't eat pasta. Pasta is just too fattening for me. I mean, because I don't, it's just, it doesn't have any fiber. It's just basically carbs. But what a lot of people do is they don't add it while they're cooking. Again, they after they are done cooking their sauce, they'll add it, after the temperature has died down. And that's what I see a lot of the naturopathics around here teach, within the church, within our church, even, and everywhere. They're teaching you to add it, because you want to retain your cold press value as much as you possibly can, but you most certainly want to make sure it's organic, and you're using it, for your salads and your salad oils. But it is highly used on the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, I have to be mindful of my weight. If you have a weight problem, you just want to be mindful. And it's not, again, think about moderation. You're not doing this every day. If you're doing it on the weekend, or your salads, your cold pressed salads, just be mindful. I think a lot of those recipes call for like 2 tablespoons. And if you have a salad that you're making, and you have a big salad, or even dressing, you're not going to consume 2 tablespoons at one meal.
I was
But it
also
is,
going to say is that during these workshops, I am going to actually show you how to cook you're going to make a broth, like a vegetable broth, that is going to have no oil at all, so that you can saute your vegetables, and you can do different things just with a natural broth. And some people, like I've actually had to buy vegetable broth, like a low sodium organic vegetable broth. And then, as Jackie was saying, that you can add your oils later to it for the flavor and to, and to just, and even sometimes for consistency. But when you do cook it, and that's profound. I mean, I'm glad you said that, because a lot of us don't think, because I was taught the same thing. It's, oh, this is high heat. And it even says it right on the bottle, high heat. So a lot of people, just like at one time people said, oh, we can't have vegetable oil, so now we're going to go to canola oil. And then you find out, well, canola oil is not good for you. So what do we do? So you do need, I mean, I personally do have oils. I mean, I use olive oil, coconut oils, and I do like the more natural one, because there's ways that you can even emulsify some of the oils, or even like I have something called it's called almond cow, where I can make almond milk. Okay. And if you can make an almond milk and use some of the pulp, these are things, or even I will show you, if you don't have that, how to use it with a blender. So you're going to learn different ways to cook healthy food that keep its nutritional value and integrity. And that's for me, that's profound. When you stop and think about it, it makes sense. If it's cold pressed, anything, and we add a lot of heat to it over a certain temperature, we lose that nutritional value. So we want to keep that in mind. Sister Martina, here we go.
You want
What
me to
about grapeseed,
Martina?
grapeseed oil?
No.
No, that's a no. That would be a no.
That's the thing. It's genetically modified.
Yeah, genetic. Yeah.
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 Canola oil genetically. If you're going to use oil, and I don't want, don't try to do everything at once. These are just some pointers.
Well, I'm just asking because
Yeah.
it comes up all the time.
It
Right.
does. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. That's a good question. That's a very
It
good
is.
question. It's an excellent
It
question.
is.
That's why we're here. It's a good question, because you're going to learn. You're going to take away a lot of things. Like even tweaking one or two things in the beginning, as you go along at your pace, you will see the difference, and you will feel the difference as well.
And since we're talking about the coconut milk, because I
Mhm.
like to make curry chickpeas, which calls for coconut milk.
Mhm.
And I found a recipe online where they substituted plant-based milk for the curry milk, and there was no difference.
Really? What was the name of it?
Uh, the milk
Uh-huh.
is they just said plant-based milk,
Oh, okay.
almond milk.
Almond.
Almond. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
almond milk. Okay.
almond milk.
And we're going to show you how to make some of that yourself in your blender.
Yeah, no, in the cow thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is easy. It's not, people like get intimidated. So we're not going to do everything at once, but it's good knowledge that you can pull from, that you can go and say, all right, this is what I'm going to implement here. I'm going to implement eating maybe meat once. Some people I know eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So for some people's first step is like, well, let me just maybe eat it for 2 meals and then maybe 1 meal. And then that's up to the individual, because not everybody is going to do that. But again, as long as you're eating the types of lean meats that are not filled with antibiotics, if you can all afford those, that's the way to go. And we will show you different things to make that will taste. I actually have a taste tester that's going to be coming over as I'm doing some of my cooking. I'm going to have 2 people here that will be tasting some of the food that I'm going to be making, so that you'll be able to, instead of hearing me say, "Oh, this is great," you'll be able to hear another person's. And these are going to be people who actually eat meat. And I'm going to be fixing them food that is plant-based. And I specifically said, this is all plant-based, but I want you to taste test this and tell me what you think. Because the mistake, I shouldn't say the mistake, I'm going to say the mistake that I made when I started eating more plant-based. Like I started at maybe 50%, and I kept going. I did it in increments, which made it a lot easier. But the biggest mistake I made was trying to substitute, like, oh, I have to have this thing taste exactly like a Reuben or exactly like a um a steak or exactly have the texture of this. Now we can do that and it's very time consuming, but it also involves a lot of steps. And then you get into a lot of processing. So I, as a person who cooks myself, and I've had a restaurant tea room, I've cooked as a chef professionally, I know that it's really about the flavor of the food and when I'm thinking and the nutritional value. So when I'm going for nutritional value already, and I say, well, I'm going to fix these chickpeas, and somebody says, like my mom said, oh, I don't like chickpeas. I said, well, I'm going to fix them for you to see how you like them. And she loved them because it was the flavor. It wasn't the expectation of, oh, I have to have taste like a burger or have it. If we just go for, if this is satisfying, if this is good and I really like it, then it's okay for me to, and I had to change my mindset on that. I'm not saying that works for everybody, but for me, I was able to actually take beets because I used to like to eat Reubens, and I found a recipe that one called for mushrooms, the other one called for beets, and I was like, beets, and I actually used peppercorns, and I created this sliced it very, very thin, and it was the way I flavored it, and I made my own cheese and everything. And the sauerkraut is good for you if you get the right sauerkraut. And I made this mock Reuben. Now, did it taste exactly like corned beef? No, but was it delicious? Everybody loved it, and I loved it. It was really good. So then I said, that's the mindset that I have to go in with. For me, it's like just being like not knowing that it's not going to taste exactly like a substitute for a meat, for instance. And I find a lot of YouTube influencers who are cooking that way. Like some guy took a watermelon and wanted to make it taste like some type of meat. And I was like, this is interesting. And the processes that they were going through, and they charred it and they did all these different things. And I was like, well, I really don't think your average person is going to do that. So I wanted to do something more practical. And knowing that the better I eat, like the more nutritional the values that I have going into my body, the less hungry I am. And the less I actually eat, because my body is full, satisfied, and I have that energy, and I have the nutrition that I need to fuel my body and to burn the fat and the different things off naturally. And I know Sister Jacqueline is going to talk about how we detox our body daily on a sort of like a great purge. And then people are like, oh no, I got to detox. And it's just like this dreaded thing. But the way her processes are more gentle and more natural. And that's the way to go, so that your body isn't going into shock. Now, in some cases, some doctors may recommend that, but we're not doctors, and we're not going to be doing anything extreme like that. But something that's reasonable and doable, and in my experience, it has been effective for myself, and I know for Jacqueline as well.
Yeah.
So,
one thing I wanted, can I
go
add?
ahead.
Okay. Avocado oil is becoming very popular again. So, look into that. Another thing, I want to go back to your fat, Sister Joanne. One of the things I learned to do, and you will learn this, if I'm going to eat because I don't believe in taking things away when it comes to vegetables, especially because you're right. There are some cultural things that makes food. I mean, it is what it is to you, and we don't want to take that away. What I did for myself, and what I try to recommend other people to do, is is first of all, in New Start, one of the letters we want to always remember is temperate, to be temperate all things. And so if I know that I'm going to consume a high fat meal, let's say that you're gonna have that curry, your curry chickpeas, and I fix them here, right? I love them, and I'll go make my flatbread. But one thing to kind of think about, look at in totality, what are you going to consume that day? If I know that I'm going to eat something, I'm going to make sure, let's say that, let me give you a good example. Let's say that I am restricting myself to sodium, then I'm going to make sure, I don't know, some of us eat 2 meals a day, some of us eat 3 meals a day. I'm going to make sure, first of all, my breakfast, I'm not gonna have any sodium in breakfast. There are a lot of breakfast foods that I like. So I'm gonna look at my sodium content for breakfast. I'm gonna look at if you're gonna do 3 meals a day, look at your sodium content for dinner. Dinner should be your lightest meal. And your heaviest meal with your coconut milk, you want it to be your lunch. And or that second, for some, it may be their second meal, but you want to consume that second meal early enough before bedtime so that you're not consuming it and going to bed on it. So that's how I kind of manage. I kind of look at how I'm going to manage my whole eating for that day. Then I know, okay, I've made enough room for my higher fat, because when we're looking at fat consumption, we want to look at my total daily input, and you want to consume it when you're burning the energy, because we eat for energy because of our daily activity. So if you're going to eat it early enough to have you, and then you're going to be walking or whatever you're going to be doing. I think those are just some pointers to keep in mind as you are. I did a lot of that for myself. That's okay. What's in that? What you put in when I go to potluck? Then I'll know what to eat and what to avoid based upon what I've had that day. Does that kind of make sense, Charlene?
Makes a lot of sense
Oh,
to me.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And that's another thing of habits of how we consume our food and when we consume our food. Now, some people work at night, and some people have longer hours and they're on their feet and they're running around. They're doing 12-hour shifts, and so that you have to modify it for your lifestyle. But whenever you can, you try to eat the heavier meal at the peak of when you are going to go into your performance to your right. So if I wake up and I say I have to be to work at 6, by noontime, 1 o'clock, I'm going to want to try it if I can. Like if you're working in like a fast-paced place, sometimes that's very difficult. But planning, which is another segment we're going to have on here, is how to take time out and be able to plan your meals and plan your prep, plan the actual shopping. So when you go into that store, you're not hungry. You never go shopping hungry. I learned that lesson. And then you are focused on where you're going to go, what you're going to get, according to what we come out with today for our meals. And we have about 25 minutes left, so we're going to share some of that. But I just wanted to say that it's very important for us to understand that, again, this doesn't happen overnight. You do it gradually. And I can tell you, if for me, just one change a week or even a month, whatever your pace is, you've made some progress. If you can just do one thing, like I said last week, I realized I had only drank X amount of glasses of water one day. And I said, oh, well, the next day I'll make sure I drink 1 or 2 more. That's progress. So we're not in a race. We're going at our own pace and what works for our household as a whole, because not everyone, we have families. So we have to also try and we are very cognitive. We are very aware that we have to work within those perimeters. So what I would like to do now is I would like Jacqueline, are we going to talk about water today, or are we going to leave that to
just focus on the foods? I was going to ask you, in their
workbook?
in
Oh.
their journal, in their section for their menus and their shopping list?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I think so. Let me go. Okay, I have the journal here in front of me.
And first start all the vegetables you like. Do what you like.
So
We'll
we have, right. So if you have in your ebook, and by for those of you who come to at least 4 meetings, you know you'll be getting. I'm gonna take my camera off for a minute. You'll be getting this beautiful book, and right now, has your grocery list, and this is actually this was beautifully designed by Diana, who is actually one of our guests here tonight. All right, so you actually have this in an ebook, so you can actually start this. And if you can't, if you're unable to print it out, you can actually just take a paper or it's like a piece of a pad, and then write it so you can like lay it in here. So that, because this has several pages, and there's pages of notes, there's the habit trackers, there's a meal planner, and the different weeks, so that you will have even a sleep journal and just your own, your own journey, this is your own journey. We're taking it together, but we're actually we will have different experiences with it, because we're all different. So we are going to share, and I get very excited when I hear something that makes so much sense about cold. And I didn't even think of it. I do it. I don't really cook with a lot of oils myself, but I do realize that we have to be very careful when we're heating those oils up, or even barbecuing. That's another thing I want to just touch on a little bit. I know that when you char something, I learned, we did this a lot in the restaurant, when you're charring, like even peppers, makes cancer causing, carcinogens, as we know. We have to be very careful of that, because you could take a healthy vegetable and then cook it a certain way, and it's just not healthy. So again, when we get to the demos and when we get to showing, like, yes, you can take a vegetable broth and you can take the scraps of your vegetables and put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them, or put them. So I like to freeze my stuff, or I like put everything in jars, and I even put them in the freezer. I'll show you how to do that too. Don't be afraid to put stuff in the freezer, glass in the freezer, if you don't fill it up all the way. But, or if you have space. If you don't have space, then you're going to have to use something else. But, and then I would just make a broth. And so I have my own vegetable broth, and then I could cook with that and steam my vegetables, and then add, what I do is I add different herbs, which we're going to also talk about, different herbs that are good for you, like basil, excellent for you. Thyme, very good for you. And we will give you the properties of those at another time, but and we're going to actually start our own herb garden as well. I'm going to do a demo on that, and you are going to be welcome to get all of the tools that you need beforehand. I'm going to give you the list the week before that, and I will send out a email, so you will be able to start your own herb garden right in your house, on your countertop or outside, wherever you're comfortable starting, if you don't have one. But all of these herbs can be incorporated. I put mine in a jar, and let me see if I have. I'm going to see if I have, just a moment. Okay. So here, and this is almost empty, but here is a picture of, now I have this is my sea moss, but you see I have all these herbs in here, and this is the oils, and these are more herbs that I have on the bottom here. And this is a salad dressing that I make, and I can also cook with this, but it's after, when I say cook, flavor cooked food with it. after it's steamed. And it's very flavorful because I have all these herbs just sitting in here marinating all the time. And that's so what we're talking about, we actually do ourselves and have done. So that's why that's half empty, mostly empty, because I use it almost every day. But I use it in moderation. I know I use maybe maybe for me, I'll use maybe a teaspoon when I'm cooking. After my vegetables are steamed, I might add that, or like I love curry too, so I might make a different one with some curry, and I'll mix it with maybe a little bit of coconut oil, of course, a cold pressed organic olive oil. Even if you have to buy a smaller bottle and start out with that way, make sure that it is a high quality one. It's better to have less and use less than buy a lot and then be cooking a lot with the oils. And you will find that you just feel a lot better using the cold pressed oils, because you're not going to be as they clog up our arteries. It's just not good for you. And as you eat these foods and you change over slowly, some slower than others, I know for me it took a while, you will feel the difference. And I'm going to tell you something. I had a car accident, as many of you know, really bad one, 2.5 years ago. And they were trying to give me all these medications for pain, and I had a lot of pain. I had a burn. I still have a burn mark on my arm and on my ankle, but it was really bad. And so I'm doing everything natural, and I'm getting people to give me the aloe vera plant and putting all that on. But the number one thing that was a major game changer for me is when I started eating like an anti-inflammatory diet. And for me, what that looked like at the time was like I still was, like at 2.5 years ago, I was eating more fish or chicken on a regular basis. And when I say regular basis, I mean, for me, a regular basis would be like a couple times a month. So, but at that point, I took everything out. And I'm gonna tell you something, my joints, because my shoulders were killing me, my joints felt better. I still go to PT because I am having still some pains from my hip because it kind of shifted some things. But with exercise, because I want to do things more natural, and so it's taking me a little longer. But what I was drinking and what I was eating was like medicine to me, and it made me feel a lot better, even cognitively, because I hit my head. And so there were different, just eating clean is what I call it, helped me so much. And of course, mindset, because that could be very depressing going through something like that. And so there's so many benefits. We want to be with our families. We want to work better. We want to sleep better. We want to perform better. And then we just want to feel better overall. And even with all of the foods and all of the things that are in the middle of the store, like we look at the perimeter of the store. I could shop mostly the right side of the store, which is where all the fruits and vegetables are. The less you shop in the store, the healthier the foods are. And the cleaning processes that we learned last week, we carry over into the fruits and vegetables that you have written down that you like. So would anyone, we have 15 minutes left. So would anyone like to share some of the things on their list that they have for their vegetables to start planning your menu? By raise a hand. Okay.
That's Matina. Yes.
Mhm. Okay, because I need special types of vegetables. I have kale, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, string beans, And these are all things I like. Broccoli, peppers, red, orange, yellow, and green, onions, garlic, asparagus, snap peas, and corn. That's the
Awesome.
vegetables.
Wow. That's a nice list there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I use them interchangeably. So most of them raw, but some of them steamed.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had some cauliflower yesterday with a little bit of the just a little bit of like some of the oils after it was cooked, and
Mhm.
it's delicious just
Yeah,
with that on there, and it was so good.
especially
Um,
roasted
yes.
Mhm.
cauliflower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Gotta be
So
careful you
that
don't
was my vegetables.
char. So as long as you don't char it, you don't want it charred. But okay, anyone else?
Did you say you don't like charred greens?
I do.
Oh,
No, no,
okay.
I said as long as we don't char, like make our
Okay.
char
Okay.
char our vegetables. We have to be very careful. Then we take away the nutritional value. We're actually eating poison. Like, so it's not good for us. Okay.
Did
Doesn't mean you
drop
can.
a seasonal food in the chat, and but that's for the Bay Area. But we work with you, then we'll look at because the seasonal foods is going to be your area dependent, what's in season for you. And we want to do a lot of, and you want to stick with your local area. That is, yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Um, Anyone else like to share? Or does anyone even have something that, like, even a recipe or a dish that they are would like to create or have created to share? Don't be shy.
What?
Okay. What about, okay, so let's move on to the fruits. Does anyone want to list their fruits that they have on their list? Because we are going to go into carbs next, the fun part. Okay,
Someone
Joanne,
answer the Joanne.
Joanne.
Okay, so have pawpaw. Soon, very soon, we'll be having something called pomerac. It's shaped like a pear, but the texture is different, and it's red, a deep red. So we'll be having pawpaw, pomerac. We still have pineapples going, and of course, Julie mangoes. 100% sugar.
Mhm.
Okay, anyone else does anyone have any questions at this point? So before we start talking
Mango
about,
is sugar, but it is the sugar is naturally occurring in foods. That's the distinction between, and our bodies were designed to eat that. Plus, you're probably eating it with the fiber, not just the sugar. So you want to keep that in mind too when you're eating the whole food. If you're not adding sugar to it, it is high in sugar. However, mango is something that you would eat the portion size, but you're getting a good healthy sugar, and the natural occurring sugar, and then you have I don't peel my mango, but I'm sure some people do. I get organic. But if you peel it, just I keep the peel because I want all my fiber. And but it is, it has some great benefits. You just want to be mindful of the portion size for your fruit. So eat those
Mindful.
mangoes.
yes, and we will be putting some recipes and in the healthy lifestyle reset. You'll say members, and everybody the link to Money Networks who doesn't have that. So you can go on there and you see on the left hand side, it'll say members, healthy reset. In there are all of or the syllabus as well as all of the forms that we would like you to fill out if you can, so that we can have our nurse practitioner look over them, and we will then get started into our breakout rooms as well, and are assigned groups so that we can work together deep, just more, a little bit more one-on-one for our specific needs, and then come back together and start looking at some of the demos so you can actually see hands-on how this actually works in the kitchen, and also the timing of it, because so that you're not like, oh my goodness, this is going to take forever. It does take some planning, and if it's planned properly, it should not take any more than what it would for you to cook your meals if it's planned out. Like right now, like I said, I have stuff soaking over. It's going to soak overnight with my little baking soda in it, and I've already rinsed it off like 3 or 4 times, and that's overnight. So that in the morning, I'm ready to go. And if I'm not ready to cook it or I get busy, I can just put it in a glass jar, like the one you saw that I have this. I have this concoction that I made with the oil and the herbs, and I can just put my lentils in there, which is what I'm working with now, and use them when I'm ready. And they're sometimes I'll even make batches of things, and then I'll freeze them so I can just pull it out and then I have it ready to go. For especially if you're very busy, and you can just make a big pot, put it in your jars, not fill it all the way, stand them up in your freezer, and you just have them to go. And that helps with throughout the week, so that you're not having to do it every single day or every other day. I like to plan ahead, and Sunday's the day that I do a lot of that. So I want to talk a little bit about, first I'm going to ask if any questions. So we have a few more minutes. I wanted to talk about some other carbs. We're going to talk about potatoes, different types of potatoes, rice, and substitutes for pasta. Also, like zucchini, and I make, I can never say this word right, but gnocchi. I think you guys know what I mean. It's like a potato, but I make it from sweet potato, not a white potato. And I don't add commercial cheeses. And that's another thing. Dairy is going to be a whole nother day, because we need to definitely talk about dairy. So any questions from anyone?
Did drop a fruit. And again, this is from the Bay Area. So now for the Bay Area, we have
Oh, right. So
your fruit. Yeah.
Jacqueline is she's putting in you
Yeah.
can click on these and save these. These are some resources for the fruit and the vegetables.
Yeah.
Great. And these will also be posted on Mighty Networks. And for those of you who can't get on Mighty Networks, or who are not, I will email it to you. So when we talk about starch, and the starches, I remember growing up, you said you have to have your meat, your starch, and your vegetable. And that was always something that was, I don't know, if by show of, like, put a 1 in the chat if that's what you were taught growing up, but they still do that. I mean, I'm older than most people. Put a 1 in the chat. Were you taught that? Anyone, just put a 1 in the chat if you were taught.
What was that again, Shani?
If you had to eat, like if you were taught to eat meat, like a meat, a starch, and a vegetable at your meals, or most of your meals, were you taught that growing up? Just put a 1 in the chat if you were. Okay. All righty. So we see from our society as a whole how that's working out for us. Or even if we go to a fast food place and they don't have the vegetable, they have a piece of lettuce on your hamburger, and then you have your fries, you have your hamburger, but where's the vegetable? And that's what, yes, Tina.
You were saying if we were taught that when we were growing up. I don't
Yes.
think it's so much that it was taught, but it was done out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of us growing up, we were poor families. So you
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a lot of vegetables, but you did have a lot of rice and potatoes and beans
Mm-hmm.
and stuff
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
that kept you from going hungry. So when you grew up and you became better off than your parents, then you started adding vegetables
You have a salad
and
with, yeah, you have a salad on the side,
and a
right?
salad on the side.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Yes. See, I grew up with a lot of fruits and vegetables, with the garden with my grandmother.
Yeah, I think they taught that because that's when I was growing up, they had
Garden.
home
So,
economics in
different,
school.
huh? Huh?
I think when I grew up, they were still teaching home economics.
Yes, me
And
too.
they taught that there, but we had because I grew up on a farm, boy, we had vegetables galore. We had
Yeah,
more vegetables than everything because I grew up on a farm. Yeah.
right. And so I grew up in the country, so it just depends on where you grew up. But the
Yeah.
norm was what they advertised on television, what you saw, and I see
It's
somebody wrote
always rice and potatoes.
yes, rice and
Yeah.
potatoes, and then they changed the food pyramid to my plate? Oh, to my plate, right. So
Yes,
we
that happened when Obama, Michelle Obama, I think, had it changed because it was the majority of it was carbohydrates on the food pyramid, and then when she came in and tried to change things around, then they made my plate, which was a good.
oh,
Yeah, they like changed the proportions so that it
oh,
was more healthy.
okay. Thank you.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that already. So that's good to know. We know that our youth are eating a lot of carbs, and we can see how where that has how that has taken us. And when I say carbs, I'm talking about we have to have carbs, but I'm talking about starchy foods
Like
that
refined foods, the refined.
refined foods,
Yeah.
processed foods, refined foods, and snacks. And so when we're writing our menus, let's be very I'm just aware of the values of sweet potatoes, white potatoes. There's so many, there are many different types of white potatoes, russet potatoes, and there's red potatoes, and let's just be. Then they have those little fingerling potatoes. There's a lot of different kind of potatoes. There's a lot of kinds of rice. Now, I discovered wild rice, which is high in calorie, but they're it's in moderation, very good for you. I get an organic one, the same place I get some of the quinoa. But this is a try. I think I got this at Chamberlain's actually. Now I think about it in Orlando, and black rice. So there's different types of rice, and then remember how to clean the rice. Remember the arsenic. Remember all of these things. I love jasmine rice, for instance. Love jasmine rice. So I eat it. I don't think I can't even remember the last time I had some. But if you're gonna eat a rice or what is it called? What is that other types of rice, Jacqueline? The
Jasmine, right?
basa,
The one with the beef.
Basmati. Basmati.
basmati, right?
It's body.
Right. I can pronounce it. When we think about these rices, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about the rice, Sister Jacqueline.
I thought we had, no?
No,
Yeah,
you talk
I'll
about
say I'll say a
you
little
talk
bit
about
about it.
you talk
Yeah,
about
I'll say
cleaning it, but I just wanted to go, just to hit on that again.
yeah.
The pastas. I'm going to suggest that we may do a demonstration on how to make that from some of the from which one of these I would show you how to make it from lentils or do a spiral zucchini, and then that's when you can take your these are a substitute for pasta. Then you can take your this oil like that, what I made this concoction here with all the different flavors and herbs and things, and then toss it in that and have a really good meal. And then put in some fresh herbs. I mean, it's very tasty. So there are so many different recipes and combinations of what you just wrote down that we can put together and share. But take those and create your wish list menu for like if you eat bread. I only eat 2 meals a day. Actually, I eat 1.5. So, and that's because I'm not hungry. And I've gotten that. I know I've achieved that because I have a lot of. I eat high nutrient food for like the food content. I mean, my nutrient content is very high. So I find that I have more energy and I'm not as hungry. And I had an ulcer from the medication that I took, and I have actually used cabbage juice to help with that, and it's helped a lot as well. So for me, so my stomach doesn't burn anymore like when I eat any like before I couldn't even put anything in my stomach. But now and I was exhausted because I wasn't getting the nutrition that I needed. And this is like night and day because now that I can eat and I'm eating high, and remember that term, high nutritional value food. Um, that is our goal for any human being on the planet is to have high nutritional foods. And that can be a lot of different combinations of things. And there's so much we can do with all of these wonderful seeds and plant-based foods and quality lean meats. And so we will put these all together. And what I was going to say about the rice, I want to just touch on that was the different types of rice. I know we talked about it last week, but I just want to make sure that we're very aware of the cleaning, like I said earlier, and the different types, and just look for different types of rice and where you buy your rice, and if it can be organic, even better.
Yeah.
Which would be like at a local, like Sprouts or a store like that. I don't think you're going to necessarily find that in Walmart. You can look, but and sometimes you can. Sometimes they're actually putting some more organic things in their on their shelves, and it also depends on where you live. So, or even if it's Publix or whatever you have in your area, I find that they are adding a lot more higher nutritional and varieties of foods. So
Yeah, thank you, the rice. I've got another one, and I'll introduce it because I was going to actually tell Sister Martina about it.
okay.
A jazzberry rice, and my research on it, I've never used it. It's almost like a black rice, but it is very good, and even its level of the pollutants is not as high. But
What's it
again,
called?
that's why we went over the soaking, the preparation of it. Is that's
What's
going to
it
get
called? What's it called?
jazzberry, Jasberry.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. See,
I had neither. I found it at Whole Foods. Jasberry. Yep, I found it at Whole Foods, and a cup. A cup only had like, I mean, I was putting things together. That's one of the rices I put for you, sister, in one of your recipes, Sister Martina.
wow. I have to
Jazzberry.
look for that. Costco has a lot of organic foods. Thank you, Jenny. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
Costco does. Yeah, so we're
Oh,
getting.
all right. That's great. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so in the last 2 minutes, does anyone have any comments, any questions? I do want to quickly go over what we're going to need for next week.
You need to go with my set of questions. Probably
Okay.
just 5 minutes will do it.
All right, you go ahead.
Okay, let me share my screen. Actually, I put a link above, and it's that long link. It's to that Google Drive. I have the document on the Google Drive, but actually, let me go and bring it up here. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back. Oh, you didn't see what I did. Let me share my screen so you can see. Share. Here. Okay, now if I go back to Zoom, I'm going to see if this is going to work. Actually, let me stop sharing. Let me bring it up first. And you should have access to it. That's why I put it there. It's a read write. Just make sure you have access to it. That's a link. You can copy it and put it somewhere. You can click on it right there, but you can update it, add any questions you want to it. I'm going to go in and share what I have. Okay, we were talking about mushrooms.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes.
One of the things I want to, what I really is important is this. This is a spreadsheet, and at the bottom it has 2 tabs: who should not eat mushrooms, and then questions and answers. This is very important. I talked about raw mushrooms, raw wilds, and the psychoactive mushrooms, especially these that, they are magic mushrooms. They contain a hallucinogenic, and you want to be careful of that. It is not ever recommended to eat wild mushrooms. For foragers, that is highly not recommended, even if you know what you're doing. I identified a couple of reasons why. The other thing is that these are people with certain conditions, autoimmune disorder. You should not ever eat them. And specifically is that if you're on an immunosuppressant, because the constituents in the mushrooms can be counterproductive or have adverse impact. These are some of the things you have to be careful of when you have certain illnesses and if you're on medication. You want to be careful of that or mindful of that with anything. You're on medication, you must be mindful, because I guarantee you, it doesn't matter how healthy something is. There are some things will counter the effect of your medication, and that you don't want that to happen. People with kidney or liver disease, some mushroom contains toxins. They damage the liver and kidneys. And again, God is joining me. The other diabetics, some mushrooms can lower blood pressure. Well, that's going to be also counterproductive if you're on a medication for blood pressure. You want to make sure of supplements. You want to make sure of all of this. People with heart conditions, people with pre-existing heart conditions should be cautious of the hallucinogenic mushrooms, and as they can cause a temporary increase in heart rate and blood pressure. People on certain medications, here's blood thinners. Be very careful of this. Your immunosuppressants as well as antidepressants. So it's not just about should I eat mushrooms, it's about what's going on with you. Because you may be, you make the decision I can't eat mushrooms, but you must be cognizant of these things. Because a lot of times things are happening to us and we have to be careful even in supplements that we're taking, because if we don't understand the synergy of our supplements, we could be, especially if you're taking too many, you could be making some things counter effective. You could be blocking the absorption of things in your bloodstream. So you just want to be mindful. Always see a doctor. I'm not sure if the conventional medicine doctors know as much about mushrooms, but at least try to see a naturopathic or integrative health doctor. They should. Pregnant and breastfeeding women, you want to be very careful of these type mushrooms. So, go over this. And those that have allergies, as well as those that have digestive issues, you want to be very careful of mushrooms. I put some references in there from where I pulled some of my information from. One of the questions, I think, heavy metals. I think mushrooms absorb heavy metals from the environment. Will they also? No, they will not absorb heavy metals from our body. Mushroom they are fungi. They do not belong. They are not plant-based. I know we say they're plant-based, but they are not plant-based. In fact, they're most closely suitable to animals than plants. But they're in their own category. And every research that you look at, they are very good for the environment. If you have mushrooms growing in your yard, that means your soil is very healthy. They are very good for the environment. Dehydrating, so they break down dead organic matter, be it plant or animal, and they recycle the essential nutrients back in the soil for plants to use. That's the importance of them. Our ecosystem is they're relying upon them to clean, to keep our soil and our air, our water clean, and to help rid it of the toxins. Dehydrating fungi or turning them into a powder form effectively causes their active carbon cycling and climate regulation functions. What I'm talking about, that, the process, which is called mycoremediation, that they have for our plants and other things growing in our soil. At the moment we start, at the moment we kill them, that process stops. However, this is the exciting thing. This is stuff gets me so excited. You can take a powder. This is so wonderful. You can take that powder, put it back in its natural environment, and it's going to start restoring itself, and we'll get to the point that this cycle will start again. To me, I thought, look at God when I think this is just, so in its natural environment, it's automatically, even its powder. One of the articles I read, put the powder in the soil.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. So you can mix the powder, like the mushrooms or powder, and put it in the soil. That's great. Okay.
Yep. It's. I think that is so wonderful. How would you know which brand of powdered mushrooms? Try to talk to your doctor. I'm gonna tell you, you want someone similar to Dr. Reynolds.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was going to drop her. I'm going to put her name in in next week. I'll put her information in because she has vetted a lot of supplements.
But she will only vet them when she's had a personal consultation with you, because she needs to know your history. Yeah, so it's not just a matter. And these are for the functional mushrooms that they do have. I know one of the ones, turkey tail, one other. She actually makes a. What is it? I think it was a pill. I think she made them in pill form or powder form, and it helped cancer patients. It helps mitigate the side effects of chemo. Yeah. So and that is, I mean, there's science out there to a lot of that, but the functional mushrooms are a lot different from the regular ones that you just buy in the store. So, and I put some information when buying. Let me just read through here. You want to make sure you choose a mushroom. You want to make sure you're buying from a reputable company that uses certified organic mushrooms, and they are independently tested, meaning they have a third party. Do not trust a company that wants to test their own. And I'm gonna tell you, these are the ones that are transparent. And because this matter a lot, you want to make sure that someone else tested that mushroom, that product, so that they can identify, any toxins or the purity of it. When selecting a mushroom product that is effective, seek out powders that are hot water extract, or it's going to either say hot water or dual extracted, and derived from the fruiting body instead of the mycelium that's grown on the grain. You want to steer clear of ambiguous terms like, all of the, and I put them here. You can read them. Oh, go on, Denise. You have your hand raised.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm not happy with the information you gave about mushrooms, Jackie, but I still love you. Thank you so much, Sister Jackie, for that. I do have a question, though. I was told to replace coffee with mushroom tea, and now I'm like really confused.
Which mushroom is it made with?
I don't know. They just said mushroom tea, and I've seen several Adventists send several different things to me, but now I'm like, can I even have mushrooms at all? And why would someone, why is that being recommended?
Let me ask you this. Are you under physician's care?
Yes.
Are you taking medication?
Yes.
Talk to him. Because because it's not necessary. One of the things you want to make certain, and I really tried to put together a chart, but there's so many different components for the various types of mushrooms, and they're not one size fit all. Each mushroom is different because they can have a different chemical constituent. But if you talk to your doctor, and if you're on medication, that's the thing that you want to make sure that mushroom is not having an adverse, it's not counterproductive to the effect of that medication. That is very important. So it's not that you can't, you just have to make sure that you know what type of mushroom it is. That makes a difference as well. So talk to your doctor. So don't get disappointed. I love mushrooms myself. I don't eat them as much as some people, but.
Okay. Yeah, because my doctor's fine with me drinking coffee, but I've been eating mushrooms, especially now I'm doing the oyster mushrooms, and I haven't noticed any difference with my blood work. And I'm taking the same medications, but I will ask him because there's so many different types of mushrooms that I'm discovering and really liking. And Is there any brand, or I know it's based on your physical chemistry, but is there any mushroom that's noted to be more, of a more to look out for than others? Is there anything that you would be able to add to that without delving?
No, because they all have the innate ability that they were given. They
Okay.
absorb the toxins from the environment. That's their nature. Unfortunately, some have mold. I mean, that's just, and I know it's a big thing in the Adventist community, and I'm sure that that is why, because they do not, from a biblical perspective, they're not a plant. They are not. They don't even conform to plant. Now, if your doctor's okay with you eating them and you're okay with you eating them, there's nothing wrong with it. Just like anything else, it could be just a matter, just be temperate with them, because you can overdo it as well.
So
But I
don't
would
replace meat with mushrooms, basically, is what you're saying. Not a good idea.
and I could, yeah. I mean, there's certain types of mushrooms, yeah. So I don't,
Okay.
don't panic about it, but just make sure that is not counterproductive to your medication or any type of condition you may be going through. I think that's the big thing I just want to leave with everyone.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for, because I was listening to what you're saying. I got into a little slight panic mode. So thank you for clarifying. I
Me too.
appreciate
I
that.
love mushrooms. And we have 4 minutes left. And Jacqueline, I just want to thank you, sister, for for doing all that research, because a lot of people did have questions about the mushrooms, including myself. So we will definitely be sharing. Do you put a link for us to be able to get that, or are we going to put that on Money
Link,
Network?
yeah, it's a drive. If you have more questions, go in there and add more questions. That link is in the chat.
Oh,
And
it
questions
is?
about anything. This is where I want to keep our questions. So go in there. That link is in the chat. Just click on it, and you should. As long
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Well, Jackie, can I add something? This is Dot.
sure.
Sorry, I'm getting in late. Hi. I sat home one evening and ate one of those Bertrolli meals that had the rice, and I didn't know it had mushrooms in it. And after I ate it, I was trying to figure out, and it was during the cold season. I was like, why am I sweating? And then all of a sudden, I started itching really small, and then the itching got really, really bad, to the point where my skin was cold, but my blood was running hot. And I was confused. I didn't know whether I should dial 911 or what. And it was a holiday. As a matter of fact, it was Thanksgiving. And I was like, okay, these people got too much to be doing, and for me to be dealing with that. And I immediately, every time I have a reaction to something I don't understand, I ask God, okay, God, why am I feeling this way? And he said, it's the mushrooms. And I was like, let me go look at the package. And I looked at the package, it had mushrooms in it. Should take or whatever.
Shiitake.
Okay. So I was like, okay. And I kept saying, what do I do? What do I do? And the Lord said, get in the shower to cool down your skin. It'll cool down your blood, because my blood was running hot and moving fast through my veins, and I don't have high blood pressure. So after I ended up taking 2 Benadryls and a cup of the Benadryl. That's how bad it got, because I was hoping I had other people around to help me scratch my entire body.
Oh my goodness. So you had a bad reaction to that.
So I went to the doctor and told her what happened. And she said, you have to be careful of eating mushrooms, period, because in the different foods that they prepared foods, rather, you'll find that there's ingredients in there that don't agree with you. And right now, because of the mushrooms, it was probably a bad set of mushrooms that was in the food. So I don't mess with mushrooms at all, period.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. We have 1 minute left. So we're going to close out now. And Sister Jacqueline, do you have anything you want to just say before we close out? Does anyone have a quick question?
You just add it to that document. You go in
Oh,
and add
right.
it.
You can add it to the document. That's right. You can just add it.
I don't have anything, Sister Shani.
Okay. Well, Sister Joanne, would you pray us up? Thank you, everybody. And remember, look, and please look at your syllabus for next week. We are going to go into the shopping. And since we've got really through here with our different types of vegetables and things that we like, so we have it in front of us, try and create a menu for yourself. Even if you don't have to get through the whole week. If you can't get through the whole week, that's fine. But at least try to get something on paper for 3 meals or 6 meals of a combination of the different things that we spoke about. And of course, if you're going to eat any other things we did not speak about, we want to definitely make sure things are done in moderation. Remember, whatever size of your fist, as far as different portions are concerned. And let's try and see if we cannot heat up our oils if possible, and use them after we cook or steam our foods, which we will definitely be giving you a demonstration on that and how well that comes out. Okay, Sister Joanne, do you mind?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this day and for bringing us together again so that we can plan how to live and eat healthier than we already do. Father God, we ask that you teach us discipline and help us, Lord. We know it's going to be a little challenge to adjust, but Lord, help us to remember the purpose for what we are doing, why we are learning, and we just want to be able to be healthy and to move around free of excess weight and discomfort. So bless Sister Shonin and Sister Jacqueline and Sister Jerry as they continue to lead us in this, Lord. And we just want you to help us to be healthy and our bodies to be, a place. We want to be pleasing you, Lord, and even the way we eat our lives in our lifestyle. So thank you again, Lord, for what you're doing for us and what you're going to continue to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Man.
Thank you.
Amen. Night, ladies. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Jackie, I'll talk to you
Good
Tuesday.
night.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Bye.